All right, we are live. Hi, everybody. It's Catie Harris, owner and CEO of NursePreneurs, and we are going over NOLA. So we're talking about the CRM, and today we're doing forms and surveys. Correct?
Correct.
So I was just using one of my machines, and now I have sleep marks on my face. I was doing body contouring. Okay, so very exciting. Let's, is that Ira? So Ira, do you want to pull up our demo account?
Sure, kindly hold.
All right, so here we go. I need my glasses because I can't see. All right, so we're going to talk about forms, and you can use forms. Oh my gosh, we use forms all the time. We use them for calendars. We use them for survey. For lead magnets, for webinars, for just about everything. So this is a category that you're going to be in a lot. And as you can see on the left-hand side, Ira went down to sites. And then it pulls up this where there's a lot of things up at the top, and forms is all the way over to the right there where she's highlighted, and it has that down chevron. And there's three options. There's builder, analyze, and submission. So the builder is where you're going to actually build the form, and that's where Ira is right now. Analyze is where you can see the report on how many people saw it, how many people responded, how much time did they spend on the form, how many people completed it. So that just gives you some analytics. If you need this, I don't normally go into this section. I just don't use it all that much, but it's there if you want it. And then submissions is where you can see where people have, if there was a form completed here. No forms this year. Well, if somebody had completed a form, it would be there and you could see the results. You could open up individual forms and read the results. So that's where you would get that. So let's go back to the builder. And for builder, what we're going to do here is we can create let's start with the calendar forms. Can you leave the door locked, like, at the bottom, so I can get out? Basically, here we have a discovery call, which is for a calendar. And these, you want to be very specific with the naming again. The nomenclature is really, really important because you don't want to have to toggle into a form to see what it is. So it's really important that you name these properly. So this is our discovery call form. And these are the things that you want to have on your form. And where on the left there, you can see those are some quick ads. So if, most people want to collect a name at least, or phone or email. So those are quick things that you can grab. And you just, it's drag and drop. So you just pick it up and move it over. So if you just want the first name, you could just pick up the first name and put first name over there. And you can also change that label. So if you wanted it to say just name, you could certainly change the label. And the placeholder are the gray words inside of the box. So if you just wanted that to say name, you could have, you can put whatever you want there. If you want to make sure somebody fills that section out and that they can't submit the form without, then you hit required. What is the hidden for?
Hidden if, for instance, you don't want them to see it. But for instance, here, when you activated on the advanced settings, there's a option here to sticky contact. So when the sticky contact is enabled, then there's option to hide a specific field so that it will capture once you submitted the form. You no longer need to input the same details.
Okay, so it's a little bit more advanced, so we won't go through that too much, but that's really how you deal with those forms. And then, on the to the left again is custom fields, and in custom fields, you can add basically any kind of field you want. So let's add. So when you hit add, these are the options that you have to choose from. You can ask them a question and they can answer using a single line, multi-line. You can have a text box list. You can have a numeric or a phone number, monetary. I think the most popular ones would be the single line, the multi-line, and the drop downs. Like I like the checkbox and the radio select. But if you want somebody to upload, something, you can do file upload, and then they can choose a file and upload it, and then you'd be able to get that file upload from submissions. And if you want them to sign a document, you just put signature. So that's nice too. So those, maybe put a couple of those in if we make a couple custom fields and just throw them in for fun. So when you do this, that does force you to come in. You need a field name. You need to know where the object is going, whether it's going to be in. So for the name, that's where you could ask a question like, what is your profession or something, right? So that becomes the name of. That becomes the name of the field, and then the object is either contact or what's the other option? Opportunity. So just leave it at contact, and then group.
The group is where you would like the custom field to be added. So we have for general here, contact, appointment form, general info, or additional info. So if you would like to create additional folder so that you can easily group the question for the specific folder, for instance, this question is for this specific campaign, so that all of the answers, once you view the contact info, you will be able to see the answer on those questions in a specific grouping only.
All right. So, and if you're not sure, just throw it in either general info or additional info.
Additional info, yes.
Yeah, that's where I put all my stuff. And then you would just save that, and then you can grab it. So it'll be in additional information. You can. Oh, where was it?
There's a search bar here as
there
well.
It is. Yeah, the search
and then you
bar
can easily drag it.
Grab and drop it there. So then they would have that. They would be able to answer with a single line question there. Can you add like a drop down as well? Like go through the custom fields and add a drop down.
Okay, for drop down, for instance,
Let's
single.
do okay. And then, so you can add, yes, no, maybe. I do this a lot with services. Do you want IV? Which IV fluids do you want? Do you want like the Myers cocktail? Or, I'm not sure what I want. I'll figure it out when I get there, type of thing. And then, that way you could sort it by that. So let's say you have 5 different IV drips, and you have NAD and glutathione, vitamin C drip, I don't know, number 4, number 5, and then you have I'm not sure option, we'll decide when I get there type option. So you could put all of those, and then when they're filling out this form and they say they want an NAD, you can be like, oh, good, I have NAD, or oh, shoot, I need to order NAD, for this appointment. So at least you'll know what it is that they want, which is really, really nice. So, and you can change the placeholder. Yeah. So please select, you can add some of that stuff in the general settings. And that's what it would look like. So when somebody clicks on this, they would see the options they could choose from. So when you go back now, Ira, if you, in the form element, if you X that out, because sometimes this, to the left, yeah, just X that out for a second. So sometimes you'll see it like this and you're like, where's all the stuff? There's a little plus sign there, and that's what you're going to click in order to get those boxes back. So in the top left-hand corner, there's a little plus, and that's where the element forms are. So if this, for some reason, isn't there, that's where it is. It's in the top upper left-hand corner. And that's where you can see all those things. And there's lots of pre-made fields for you. And if none of those fields work for you, then you can use the custom fields. Now, once you get the form to where you want it to be, you can always save multiple times, right? In the top right, there's the save button. But you want to go to options, which is, and just below it in, so styles and options. And you can style it however you want as well. So you can have it a single column, two columns, single line. You can change the color of the submit button. You can change the width and all the padding if you want to play with that a little bit. Ira, just show them the different things that they can do. However, it makes it look good for you. If you just want a line instead of a box, you can do that. The label width is, can you increase that to like 500 or so? So you can see how it pushed everything aside, and then, back, everything moved off to the side. There. Did you change the padding? Yeah, so that was the padding. So, the padding is what is, so basically the box around the words. So if you increase the padding, this stuff keeps indenting inward. So those are some things that you can play with up there. So, I usually don't play with that stuff too much. If you want to make the background a different color, you just touch on the color and it'll change the background of the form. This kind of stuff starts to get a little like it starts to take way too much time, and you're like, oh my gosh. But that'll change the font color. And then where's the button color?
The button color,
Oh, you have to click.
they need to click on the button, and then they can change the background here.
Okay. All right.
And then they can also change the bottom name here.
Right. And then you can say submit now or pay now or whatever it is that you want to say that goes in. But you have to select the button in order to change that. In order to change the whole form like you just did, you want to select on the form itself, right?
Yes, you need to click on the button here.
Right, but with the whole form.
For the whole form, it is under the styles.
Okay. So you're just going to go to styles. But if you want to change the button, you have to go into the button form. And if you want to add an image, you can add an image. You can also add a header. Again, this starts to get fancy. And if you're really creative and this is what you want to spend your time on, you can make it as beautiful as you want. There's a lot of functionality here. I like to keep things simple. So I have a white form. I leave everything the way it is. And the only thing I change is the button color for the most part. Just because it starts to take a long time to tweak all of this stuff. And I don't know that it improves conversions. It just it can waste a lot of time. Unless you have a very creative side and you like doing this stuff, then that's fine. They also have some pre-made ones under themes. So on the top right there, if you go to themes, you can choose these. And like if you want to pick one of those, and you can see how they put the background image there. So, you can change that background image too. Or you can use theirs and just use the form the way that they have it. So if that's, you can still change the colors. Or you can use some of these pre-made ones if you prefer this. And again, this starts to get really fancy. And for something, if you're just making a calendar form, all of this stuff is pointless because the calendar form is just going to bring up the regular form. And then you want to go to options, which is the last thing. So on submit, what do you want to happen? So there's a couple options. You can have a message, which just says, thank you for completing the form, or we got your message, thanks so much, or thanks for your payment, or your next step is, whatever you want, you can write that message in there. What I prefer to do is to send them to a thank you landing page. So we'll do landing pages later. So the most simple thing to do is just do a message, right? It says, thank you for submitting the form. But when you get more advanced and fancier and you have things in funnels, you can send somebody from this to any URL. I mean, you could send them back to your website, right? If you want to, you can send them to your Instagram page if you want. Like as soon as they submit the form, what do you want to happen? And in this case, after submitting this, you could send them to another funnel. You could send them whatever you want to do. It depends on what the purpose of the form is. For a discovery call form, this is going inside of calendars. And we're going to hit funnels next week and stuff about what to do. But typically a calendar funnel will, there's an option to automatically take them to the next step. But if that doesn't exist, you could put the URL of that thank you page here. So those are your two options. You can add Facebook. Let's say you're doing Facebook ads and this is a lead ad form, or a form for Facebook. You can add the pixel ID here. That's also getting a little fancy, and I haven't been using these so much, but if you do have a coding guy that's doing all this stuff, then they can put that functionality in here. And then form settings. So sticky contact is somebody that's already in your database that the system recognizes. They'll fill out their information for them, so they don't have to type their name or phone number in or email if the system already has those things. And then time zone, is that the client time zone or the system time zone?
This is the account time zone. So what we set up on the settings on the business profile, that's the time zone that this form will follow.
Okay. Yeah, and that becomes important because we had that before where I had somebody setting up appointments and they were in, I don't know, 3 time zones behind, and they would schedule somebody and he scheduled something when he was in Texas, but then went back to California and it was all messed up. So it's just easier to leave it on the account time zone. And the account time zone is your account wherever you are, wherever you've set up your time zone. So if you're Eastern Standard Time Zone, then all the hours will be displayed, will be the Eastern Standard Time Zone hours for your business. All right, so then you would save this. And how do you get access to this form? Well, you can go to the integrate button, which is at the top. And at integrate, you can copy the embed code and embed the form directly into your website, or you can copy the form link. Or the third option is going to be, we're going to set this up in a calendar. So we'll show you that. But if you just wanted this form, you could copy that form link and then you can cut that and paste it into any browser, and that would work. But we're going to go back to calendars. So we did a whole session on calendars in the last video. And so one of the things that was missing was the form, right? So there's a default form for calendars, but we just created this discovery form calendar form. So we're going to go to calendars, which you can see, go back, you're going too fast. On the left-hand side, when you first come in, there's calendars. This is one way to get in. So if you want to click on that, and then up at the top, there's calendar settings, which takes you to the back end. So if you click on that, you can see we're in the settings section. So we're going to go back to our Jane's personal calendar. We're going to go in and edit. And we're going to go to forms. So forms and payment. And there's a default. This is where every calendar starts off with a default. So if you don't put any form into calendars, it's fine. It'll just go to default and it's going to collect everybody's first name, last name, email, and phone number. But we wanted a special form for this particular calendar. Let's say you are doing IV hydration or you have a med spa and you've listed off some services, do you want NAD? And so you want them to fill out this discovery call form. So when you select that form, that is the form that's going to come up whenever they use this calendar. So then you would go ahead and save that. And then can we pull up the calendar link? So if you remember, this is how you share your link. You would go through those 3 little dots, share, copy, and then this is the calendar itself. And this is the calendar we created last week. So when we pick a time, it's going to take us to the form, and there's our form. So that was the form that we just created, and it's asking us for our name, our phone number, the question that we had asked, the drop down, and you can make this as long or as short as you want, right? But they have to fill out this information before they can schedule the meeting. And that's how you do it. And it looks so pretty. So now the question is, what did we do for on submit?
Okay. On submit, we do have, on our form, we have the thank you page. So it will redirect to our thank you page that we created.
Okay, so now we're going to fill out all
Let
this.
me quickly add a phone number.
I want you to put your real phone number in there. So once you do that, it goes to, so this is the default because we had, that was the custom thank you page. Or this is the default for the calendar.
Sorry, this is the default for the calendar.
Okay, so this is, if you want to customize this, you can on submit. So when you do the on submit form, or if you set this up in a funnel, it will do it differently. But the default for the calendar, this is what's going to happen if you just use the calendar. If you want it to go to a special page, then we have to create a funnel, which we'll have to do in another video because that takes it to another level. So setting up a simple discovery call, these are all the elements that you need. So you set up your calendar. If you want to customize a form, you can, and that's how you would connect it inside the calendar. This is what they would see. They can add it to Google. They can add it to their Outlook calendar. They can add it to their iCloud calendar, but it confirms the time, how long it will be, and the time zone that it's going to be in. So then the next thing that we need to do, oh, this is okay. So
this is sample of form, customized form that is created on another account, one of our client.
Yeah, so this is some options of things that you could do. So this is what they did. So they wanted full name, email, phone number, but then they wanted the address and the city.
The address, yes.
Additional, what are your goals? Which drip are you interested in? Though I would say here, the names are pretty good, but I would add an option that says unsure or undecided, because you don't want to force them to pick a drip and then they come in and you're prepared to do like a hangover drip, but that's not what they really wanted. They just chose it because it was, it forced them to choose something. And so this is completely customizable. You can put different rules, and if you have certain terms that you want them to check off and say, I understand that this is, that I can't cancel an hour before, or I understand, that I can't bring a guest, or I can bring a guest, or whatever the conditions are. You can put all of that one here. You can even have them sign the form if you want them to sign the form. But that's the power of forms, and that's how you can be creative with them.
Yes. By the way, we're not able to show earlier the form submission. Let me quickly show it here. So when there's a form submission, this is how it will look like. So there's option here to filter for dates. And then once they filter the date, they can also filter the specific form that they would like to check. And then if they would like to view and download the form submission, they just need to click on expand and they will be able to see the form. And there's option here to download as PDF.
Yeah. So because the system is HIPAA compliant, I have a lot of people fill out forms like medical information forms, and then we download them and upload them into our EMR, just because it's just this is so much more user friendly and so much more easy to design the way that I want it to. That I can mail a calendar link or a payment link, and then have them fill out forms that I can then upload into the EMR, and it just flows really, really nicely. I do this with semaglutide. So I have an email that I send out if somebody's interested in semaglutide, and it goes to a payment link. And once they make their payment, then it takes them to like medical forms to complete. And then a lot of that stuff is done. It's completed, and it happens in one fell swoop, which is really convenient, as opposed to, okay, you did this, now we'll do this. And okay, now that this is done, we'll do this. It's just the funnel takes them right through it. And we'll go over that in another video. Now surveys, what's the difference between forms and surveys?
Okay, forms are basically it will help out to capture leads and collecting data and then connect it on the automation. But with survey, so it's more on like getting insights from customer, and then you have multiple questions, and then you can also have multiple steps like a flow. So basically that's the difference between the two. So
Okay.
forms are just a simple with basic questions and basic fields. But if you have multiple questions and you need to gather information, that's how you need to create survey forms.
Okay. And then they have the same options, like you can build from scratch, you can build from templates, and you can analyze the results, and there's also the submissions.
Yes. So as you will notice here, so with forms, you have only one full page, while for the survey, you can have multiple pages here so that your leads will not get overwhelmed with the questions. Instead, they will view, like you can do one question at a time.
Yeah, so it's more kind of a slide. If you want to do like collect basic information first, and then maybe the next slide you're going to collect, I don't know, questions, for example, on weight loss, right? Like what diet do you follow? Or whatever information you want, you can throw that into the next slide. Question, the one there, question two. And you can have as many slides as you want, and you can fill them up fairly. I think it expands, right? If you put like 10 questions in one slide.
Yes. You can have more question in one slide, and there's also option here for logic. For instance, if this question, there's a logic here. When you click on the question, there is settings on the right side. So under the, kindly hold, let me quickly close. Okay, so when you click, so there's a logic here. So based on the option, so on the sample A, we have option A, B, and not applicable. So for instance, if they answer option A, you have option to direct them to a specific slide or a specific question that is applicable to that answer. So for
Right.
instance, we have slide 4. So if the answer here, for instance, option A, and you would like them to redirect to slide 3, you can do that. While for if they select option B, they can go to slide 4.
Right. Yeah, so that's really, really powerful. So like if, for instance, if somebody says, if you say, are you interested in body contouring, IV fluids, or a functional wellness visit? And if they say body contouring, then you could go to the slide that just has body contouring. And it's like, okay, well, are you interested in hot body contouring, cold body contouring, blah, blah, whatever. And you can take them down that path. Whereas if they say IV fluids, and you can say, well, do you want NAD or glutathione or X, Y, and Z? And if they want functional medicine, you take them down a different pathway. And then ultimately, how do they come back to the end to finish up? Because you don't want everybody to go through all of them. It depends on. So if they go from let's say they take option A and that takes them to slide 3, then what happens?
Then on slide 3, you can add a specific question that is applicable to the option A. So if you don't have the question yet, same with how it works on the form. So you just need to click on add and then select the custom field that is applicable for the question. For instance, single line, and then
Yeah, then you're muted. But for single line, you would fill out the form the same way that you would do it any other way. So naming that single line, picking the object, which is the contact, and then putting it in the group, whether you want, in general information or additional information, and then you would just hit save for that. So there she is.
So, for instance,
and sometimes you have to refresh the page in order to get the question, but there it is. And then from here, when you click on question 3, you could take everybody back to where they converge again. So let's say, they choose option A, it takes them to slide 3. And after they finish slide 3, you can take them to, I don't know, slide 8, which is where everybody, maybe that's the thank you slide, like, thanks so much for filling out this form or this survey. And everybody ends at slide 8. Now, the other option they had on there was to disqualify somebody, and that's interesting for, especially marketers and stuff. So if they have, let's say they say, how much are you willing to spend on marketing, and you're a marketing service, and you have 0 or 1,000 a month or 5,000 a month. If anybody who picks 0, they have $0 to spend on marketing, then you can disqualify them immediately, or you can disqualify them after they submit. And after submit, it would say, thanks so much, but you don't qualify for our services, so you can't set up an appointment, or whatever the case may be. So if you have something like that in your business that you want to do that, then you want to use surveys, and you can do that. So, or, especially for, let's say, body contouring, or, you say, are you pregnant? And they're like, yes. And you're like, okay, well, disqualify this person either immediately or disqualify them after they submit. And you're like, thanks, but, come see us after the baby's born or something. So those are just some fancy things that you can do with it. And it's really, really powerful. So, ultimately you can keep this as basic as you want. And I do keep a lot of things super basic, but there are a couple of situations where using the advanced logic and, it is helpful. And you can just know that it's there. It's an option. I would default to keeping everything as simple as humanly possible, just because there's a lot of stuff going on in here. But these options exist. They're very, very powerful. And if you have somebody that's helping you out with this stuff, they'll really appreciate all of these options. Oh, there's the, so under options again. So that when you disqualify somebody immediately, you can take them to a URL that says something very specific, like, hey, don't bother filling out this form because you don't qualify, or, it's super nice to meet you, but why don't you go to this person's clinic, or whatever the case may be. So you can be very specific about it, or you can just have a message. So you can either take them to a page, or you can have a message right there. And then if you disqualify immediately, which is above that one, it's the same options. You can do a URL, or you can do a message. And what you definitely want to do is the on submit. So what do you want people to do when they submit? Where do you want them to go? Do you want a message to be displayed, or do you want to take them to your website, a specific landing page, anything like that? Create contact on partial submission. What's that?
Create contact on partial submission. So
You're
here
really
on slide
low.
one.
Ira, your audio is really.
Sorry, can they hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so on partial submission, if they remember on slide one, we have here collecting full name, phone, and email. So if we enable this, for instance, they are on question 3, but did not proceed on going to slide 4. For instance, they closed the browser. So automatically, the system will collect the basic information that is inserted on this slide 1.
Okay. Yeah, actually, that's really helpful, because I've had a couple of people, because my medical forms for weight loss are kind of extensive, and they might get interrupted while they're doing it. And then, so if that is on, then they'll be able to come back and finish it, or I'll just be able to see what they've done to that point.
So it's important that if they enable this, these 3 um, required fields are on the slide 1. So the system will be able to collect the basic information.
Okay. So they'll be in the system at least.
Yes.
Okay. And then again, you would just go to integrate to grab the link for this. You can embed it on your website, or you can grab the link and you can send that to whomever you want. And it's that easy.
Okay. This is the sample of survey form. So this is for semaglutide. So like sample, like asking for current weight, weight loss goal, and then slide 2, other question that is need to be filled out for semaglutide.
Yeah, so this becomes a lot less overwhelming. And then you can schedule an appointment, or, you can make a payment, or whatever it is that you want them to do, you can take them to the next step. That's awesome. And then again, for all of these things, on submit, let's go to submissions and see.
Yes. Currently, I don't have sample here, but
Okay.
same with form. Usually they will just see this type of thing. Like there's an expand menu here where they can download the submitted health form. But by the way, I forgot to mention, like on the forms, there's option here to enable, like if they would like to receive the copy of the submitted form, they can just enable this setting inside of the form. So once they go inside of the form builder, there's notification like bell icon here, and then they can enable the um, auto response. Like for instance, you would like to receive notification, like the account user would like to receive notification once the form has been submitted. This can be enabled. Why? If you would like the customer to receive the copy of the response, they can just enable this one and then just click on save. And then another save here.
Awesome. And then, as always, like whenever you set up forms or surveys and stuff, if you want to get notified when they are submitted, and you can just create an automation. So if it's a calendar form, you already have calendar automations set up, but let's say you're creating, the special survey and you want to be notified specifically when that survey is submitted, then you would go to automations, and that's on, in the gray bar, the dark blue, and you go to automations on the left-hand side. Yep. And you could create something from scratch. So if you want to create a workflow, you can start from scratch. That's usually where I start, is just from scratch. And then change the name of the workflow first and foremost, because that's important. So this is going to be, yes, your survey name, submission notification. Just be very specific about what it is that this workflow is. And then the trigger would be the survey. Did we just create we just created a survey, right? So survey submitted. And also in the workflow trigger name, I would change the survey. Like I would, what survey was submitted, right? So let's say, form name. Yeah, if it's a weight loss or whatever the case may be. And then you're going to pick the survey is. What was the survey? So we just created survey 1, and then you would save that trigger, and then you can add a notification from here. And let's say you want somebody on your team to be notified, right? Or you want to be notified. So you would hit notifications, send internal notification, and here you can send it an email, an SMS. If you want, let's say you want to get an SMS every time this form is filled out because you want to call the person immediately. So you could, choose your all users. You can assign it to, let's say you have one person that does all the phone calls, or you could pick somebody specifically like yourself, right? So, every time this form is submitted, we want Ira to be told. So, and then inside the message, you could say, this is where custom fields helps a lot. You could put like the client's, the custom name, like contact name, submitted the form. And if you go into, the little tag. So create a custom value, and the contact, full name. Okay, so there's that person, right? So contact name, what their phone number is, and this will all just be auto-generated, so you don't have to go look this stuff up. You're going to get an SMS with all of this information, and if they left some sort of message, that actually was really helpful too, was to have that. So I actually get email notifications. So if somebody fills out a contact form on our website, I get an email notification that says, Jane submitted this question, and then there's the question, and I'm like, oh, okay. And her email's there, her phone number's there, so I can respond like straight from my phone without having to go into the system, which is really annoying. How do you do the message one?
So once there's an internal notification, then you can proceed if you would like to send SMS or email to the lead. So just click on the plus sign and
No.
go.
I mean, inside internal notification, like if somebody sends a message on the form, how would I get that?
Do you mean responded on the form?
Yeah. So you know how you had a message category, like if they, let's say this is, a contact form and they're sending us a message, there's a custom value for message.
Okay. So for instance, if they selected a specific, if you would like to filter a specific answer like on the form, did I understand your question?
So when I get an internal notification and somebody wrote a message inside the contact form, that comes to me through the internal notification.
On your mobile app, right?
Yeah. So go into internal notification.
That's notification part here.
Right. No, but go down into the message, the body of the message. Scroll down. Yeah, there. So inside the email that gets sent to me, or that SMS, there's a custom value for message.
Okay. So here, once custom value, and then there's message here, and then message body.
Yeah. So that will, if you put the message body in, then whatever the person, wrote in the special message section inside the form will show up there, which is really convenient.
Okay. However, if there's a specific field that is added for to capture a specific message, so instead of message body, they can look for a specific custom field here. So click
Mm-hmm.
on contact and then click on custom field and look for the specific question. So for instance, you would like to get the information that they inserted on this question tree. So
Right.
automatically, the answer that they insert on question 3 will populate here.
Yeah, and you can do all of them. I mean, it depends on how fancy or how much information you want, or you can have all of your questions in there, and this will be specific to the person that submitted this form that you're getting the notification for. So if Jane sent the form, you'll get Jane's phone number, Jane's email, and Jane's answer to question number 3, because that's what you chose. And then from there, if you want, you can wait. I always do like a wait step, and you can wait for a day, you can wait for 10 minutes, you can wait 30 seconds, whatever the case may be. And then you can send them a response. So this is instantaneous, right? Like if somebody submits a question, you can instantaneously send a response, or you can make it, if you wait for 30 minutes, you could send something that's kind of friendly that it would be hard to tell if it was, a bot or if it was actually you sending something like, so if we want to send an email after they submit this form, you would just put your information there. So who it's from you. And you don't have to use custom values. You could just type your name in if you wanted to. And this is your information. So, and the subject could be just, it could just be hi or whatever. And then you could use custom values to use their first name, right? So hi, first name, and it looks better if it's, first name and not first and last name, because that's nobody who sends an email like hi, Sarah Atkinson. It's hi, hey Sarah, or hi Sarah. Thanks for your message. Whatever you want to put here. So if you want to put something friendly, if you want to put something like I'll get back to you, or I'm with a patient, I'll get right back to you, or whatever the case may be, you can put that in here. Or somebody will reach out to you shortly. I'll have my desk call you, whatever you want, just knowing that this is an automated message. So the same message is going to go out every time this form is submitted. So and there's lots of things that you could do at this point, at this juncture. And then you just save your action. And then when you're ready, you want to put it on publish and then save. And it won't let you leave this page until you save what you've done, unless you X out of the window completely. And that's it. So when form names, so those other settings, and we can go over automations little by little here, but at the top, the builder is what we're doing. The settings will allow, if you only want somebody to do this automation one time, you could toggle that off. Most people want to allow reentry. There's a stop on response, which is if somebody responds to a message, you could have a workflow that, it says, call me. And if they respond, like with the first call me, they don't get the other 6 call me's, right? So, if they respond to that message, otherwise they'll keep getting those message, call me. So you can set that up. You can have an account time zone. The specific time would be important too. I would leave it on account time zone for the most part, unless you have a specific reason to do it the contact time zone. But the time window, so this could be important too, because let's say you know, somebody sends you a message at 3 a.m. Well, 30 minutes later, you don't want the automated message going out saying, hey, I'm busy. I'll get back to you in a little bit. You know, so schedule this from working hours. So you only want this automation to function Monday through Friday from 10 to 5. And after that, you know, it just waits until this criteria is met. You could, if you don't want to put your every time, if you put your sender details here, then you don't have to fill them out every time you build on this automation, which is convenient. And the mark is red. Toggle this on if you want the conversation the workflow will interact with to be marked as red. Yeah, I don't really use that, so that's another function that you could possibly use. And then at the top, there's enrollment history. So this will, who's gone through this. So if you want to know if somebody's actually gone through the workflow, you can see it there. And then the execution logs and when they were executed. So if you're concerned that something funky is happening to your automation, you can double check and make sure everybody's going through properly. And that's it. So that's forms and surveys. Again, I know it's a lot, but that's why we have these videos. So the combination of calendars, forms, and surveys is extremely powerful. There's so much that you can do here, and there's so many systems that you can get rid of just by having these things. You can get rid of Calendly, you can get rid of Jotform, you can get rid of like any survey stuff that you have going on. All of that stuff is easily built in here, and it is quite powerful. Are we still covering quizzes? Ira, can we go over quizzes real fast? So again, sites, and up at the top is a quiz. When would you use quizzes versus surveys?
Okay, so if you would like to assign scores to responses, that's how you will need to use the quizzes, because surveys can just gathering customer feedback, or you need to gather research. So that's how you use survey. But if you would like to assign scores, you will need to use the quizzes here. So on quizzes, so first you need to name the quiz, and then start adding your question here. So let's add the, okay, so here we have option A, option B, and not applicable. So if you would like to assign score, so you can assign the score here. For instance, if they select option A, they will get score of 2, while if they select option B, you can add 5 points here. And then you may also have the logic, like for instance, if they select option A, you can jump on the next specific page.
Okay, so there's some fancy stuff there too, but this is really powerful, especially like, you know, as we move into like CE credits and offering that kind of stuff, people need to fill out the survey, they need to answer questions, and they need to get them right. So this is where we would use quizzes. Or if you want to take somebody through some logic on your website, like, what are you interested in? What, you know, are you interested in, you know, I don't know, if you have a bunch of different options, you could score it, and then based on what they score, you could send them information regarding that. So let's say it is body contouring. They picked all the answers that are related to body contouring. So you put them in a body contouring funnel. with an automation or something that talks more about that kind of stuff. So that's one way that you can use, or you could just do like actual quizzes. Like if you need to, let's say you have a coaching practice and you want people to read material and answer questions, you could just do a straightforward quiz here as well. But this could be helpful in helping to sort out when people come to your website, what is it exactly that they are looking for? And you can take them down different paths of logic by using the quizzes and scoring. So maybe they get 1 point if they're interested in body contouring, they get 5 points if they're interested in IV fluids, and 100 points if they're interested in, I don't know, skin resurfacing or something. And then, you know, at the end, let's say they score, I don't know, a 2, and you know that they want body contouring, then on submit, you can send them to your body contouring section of your website.
So just a sample here, for instance, they select option B and then they click on submit. So they will, at the end, they will be able to see their score here.
Oh, I like that too. Do you want to talk to us about your results? So let's say you do like GI health, and they picked all these things that clearly indicate that they have some sort of GI question, you know, issue, and you're a GI health specialist. You could have them book an appointment straight from here instead of subscribe, book your appointment or something. I need to use these more often. This is pretty cool.
Just same with other submitted, like the form builder and then the survey builder. So you can also add Facebook Pixel ID, and also there's settings like they can enable sticky contact or customize the style here. They can also change the font if they would like to change the font, update the color, and also the font size. So
Awesome.
everything here can be customized on the settings.
Love it. All right. So that is it for this week, even though this was a lot. And I know, and this is the 2 basic things. Like if you do nothing else, like if you just do these things, NOLA is totally worth it. But you can see how powerful and how much stuff you can do. And all we've done is covered calendars and forms at this point. And we've got like 50 more topics to go over. But these 2 things alone are a game changer for your business. You know, it's so much more user friendly, especially on the end user, to use this system to set up appointments. They can choose from multiple calendars. They can select forms that are customizable, that are relevant to your business. And again, when you set up an account with NOLA, we go through and in the first, you know, you get 90 days of support where we'll help you set up what you need for your specific business. And then if you want to do more stuff on your own, you have these videos that you can go through and, you know, set up more forms, more surveys, more quizzes, and just really expand. So, you know, NOLA as a system can really grow and expand with your business over time. So it's a very, very powerful system. And the one thing I don't want you to do is get completely overwhelmed by the fact that there's so much that you could do. There's only a couple of things that you should do right now, and that is calendars and forms. Get that done first, and then you can start working on next steps and you know, really expanding. And those are some of the things that we'll talk about in the coming weeks. So very excited to share all this stuff with you guys. Trying to see what is the next topic that we have coming out. I can't find it super fast. Oh no.
It's setting up sales dashboard.
Oh, here it is. Setting up the sales dash. Oh, that's a good one. And we definitely need Sarah for to talk us through the sales dashboard. Because once people come in, right? So you set up your calendar, your forms, your surveys, and now it's like people are starting to book appointments. And those numbers are really, really, really important. So when you're setting up a sales dashboard, you need to know, like, if you're doing Facebook ads or you're sending emails, like how many people are responding, because that's how you know if you need to double down and put more money or more time into a certain modality or the system. So if your emails are working really well and your Facebook ads aren't, well, just double down on email, send more email, like send better emails, do whatever it is that you need to do. Or if Facebook ads are working, let's say you put $2 in and you get $5 out. Well, oh my God, how much money do you have? Like if you can do that, if you can turn $1 into $2, well, as much money as I can possibly find, that's how much I would spend on Facebook ads. So, but you need to know those numbers, because what you don't want to do is have those numbers skewed and then you spend $1,000 on Facebook ads and you make $50. That will bankrupt you very quickly. So, all right. So that is it for this week. We'll see you guys next week for another NOLA tutorial. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.